Well, right there, he told me how I'm going to balance the budget. I'm not going to be Santa Claus. You know, Uncle Sam. If you're thinking of sending a Congressman Dick Muri to D.C. to bring home the bacon, sorry, that carcass has been picked clean a long time ago. All you have is this great uncle who's writing great checks to you, but they're really IOUs to your grandkids. It's generational theft. Whether it's bridges to the beaches, to Shaw Road, to you name it, special types of projects. You know, Adam's a really nice guy. He comes up to every mayor and other county officials and says, "Hey, what can I do to help you? What kind of spending? What kind of things do you need from us?" We really need to be telling our congressmen, "Thank you, no thank you. If we're going to build it, we're going to fund it. We're going to do it locally." We need to make the hard choices locally. Either we raise taxes or we make hard choices. But that's the first way we balance the budget, is not look to Uncle Sam to be everybody's Santa Claus.
All of the earmarks in the entire federal budget are $33 billion. The deficit for this year is $1.3 trillion. So getting rid of that $33 billion isn't going to do anything to address the deficit. If you're going to address the deficit, you have to address entitlements, you have to address our complicated tax code, and you have to address defense spending. That is like 99% of the budget. So to tell you that the way he's going to balance the budget, a $1.3 trillion deficit, is with $33 billion in earmarks, is not honest and not direct. I think this process should be open and transparent, absolutely. But if a little bit of money can help, that's fine. Cut it all back. I don't have any problem with cutting it. I just don't think that it should all come out of the 9th District, okay? I think it should be cut equally. And again, I have taken the votes on those issues to make those cuts, to not support spending programs that dug us this hole. When the Republicans were in charge and they passed the prescription drug bill, very popular bill. I mean, it's prescription drugs for seniors. Who wouldn't want it? It wasn't paid for. I voted against it. Popular program. That's what you're going to have to do to balance the budget. Not worry about $1 million for Shaw Road so that we can actually help move our economy forward. The choices involved here are much tougher and involve bigger issues.
Thank you. Appreciate the honesty and the spirited debate, and we will have it continue. We now have questions from the audience, and I would like to have Mindy come forward. And
I have to go there?
Come on, it's okay. Speaking to the
Okay, so my question was that, my name is Mindy and I'm a small business owner. So my question was that I see a lot about rebuilding the economy, but I don't see a lot in specific as to what you're going to do to help us small business owners, especially new startup businesses. I see a lot geared towards programs for military and vets, and they already receive excellent benefits, which I think they should because they fought for our country. But they already get excellent programs for getting a retraining, to get for health care. And so what are you going to do for small business owners specifically?
Well, there are a lot of programs out there through the SBA and elsewhere to help small businesses, particularly with exports, to be aware of overseas markets. Because even the smallest business, I met a guy who's got like 7 employees and makes devices that help, with gated communities. So you have to, do the passcode to get in. He exports about 80%. So access to exports, I think, is critically important. But that's not the most important thing we can do for small business. I'll agree with Dick on this. I think there's not going to be a lot of money for a lot of these programs. I'll agree with him in transportation. There's going to be a lot less money for transportation, and I'll be happy to vote to make sure that we don't spend more on that, because that's where the budget deficit is at. I think going forward, the most important thing we can do for small business is to give greater certainty in this economy. We've got a set of tax cuts that have been expiring at different points over the course of the last 7 or 8 years. We should make a decision on what our tax code should be, make it permanent so there is dependability there. I also think getting a plan that moves us towards a balanced budget is critically important to let us know that the deficit isn't going to hang over us. I think certainty is the most critical thing that we can do for small businesses. And one other issue, education. I think our biggest challenge right now is our workforce. We have an education system that spends too much money educating people where they wind up no more qualified for a job when they're done than when they started. We need workforce development, starting in K-12, going through our community and technical colleges. I know businesses right now that even in this economy They can't find people with the skills they need to fill those jobs. We have bursting at the seams at our community technical colleges. We need to rearrange the way we spend education dollars. I don't think we need to spend more money because we don't have it to begin with, but second, because I think a lot of it right now is not being spent wisely. We need to spend it starting on K-12 right up through to give people applicable skills, to work on internships, to bring businesses into our K-12 schools, and actually have them tell the teachers, here's what we need. Here's the skill sets that we're going to need. More to say on that, but I'm out of time, so I'll save it for a vote. Thank you.
I agree with that. We need greater certainty. We need a president that doesn't talk and bash business every speech he's making lately. Let me tell you, you talk to business leaders, and they're scared with the kind of rhetoric that's coming out of the Obama administration. And I need you, Adam, to call him out. I know you were his campaign co-chair for president. You were one of the first out of the box to endorse him, but he has truly been a big disappointment to a lot of people, especially in the business community. So we need greater certainty. We need we need to get rid of the death tax. I just was at a business today, and the guy was, his father just passed away, but he said, on the other hand, if his father had died next year, the business would have gone under. They could not afford the death taxes to be the size of the corporation. They would have literally had to sell the business. They've been in private hands for, family hands for 50 years. Hires 48 people, and they would have probably had gone under. So, and we need to lower the corporate tax rate, one of the highest in the world. The cap and tax, that energy tax that was going to cost probably a couple $1,000s per family or more. It passed the House with your help. We need to make sure that it doesn't pass. There's other ways to worry about the fuel efficiency. We're hoping that this lame duck Congress that's going to be after November 2nd doesn't try to jam this stuff through, and I want you to promise that as a lame duck congressman, whether you're lame duck or whether the Congress is lame duck, that you're not going to be passing all these things after November 2nd. So that's what a lot of people are waiting to, not only to see what the new Congress looks like, they're looking to see what's going to happen by the 1st of January. So everybody is holding off, making loans, making investments. And education is a local issue. I think the federal government needs to get out of the business of directing how both public schools and the community colleges and all that. That's one place where the federal government can only start eventually cutting back some of its money, but also its regulatory requirements, the reporting requirements. Huge bureaucracy. 5,000 employees now in the Department of Education. I don't think at the federal level, that doesn't make anybody smarter. We could go from 5,000 maybe down to 5 and have those people back in the classrooms. It comes down to, we have a big, one thing about government, it continues to grow and get bigger and bigger. Since Jimmy Carter put the Department of Education in place, that has become a monstrosity. As a former school board member, we saw that administrative overhead. It was very onerous. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a quick point on the estate tax. I think we should get rid of the estate tax for family-owned businesses. I've had a bill that I prime sponsored to do that for some time. I don't support getting rid of the entire estate tax for a variety of different reasons, one of which is the deficit issue. And again, here we go. The deficit's critically important. We have to live within our means. Getting rid of the estate tax entirely, according to CBO, adds, depending on how you do it, somewhere between $250 to $400 billion to the deficit over the 10 years. So now on top of the $1.3 trillion, we have another $500 billion. Sorry, $300 billion. You've got to make choices in that regard and figure out how you're going to balance it out. And if you cut down corporate tax rate, same thing. What I would propose doing, simplify the tax code for corporations and for individuals. To simplify the tax code, you have got to get rid of a lot of the deductions, write-offs, and tax credits that are in there that confuse it for everybody, to the point where $300 billion in taxes goes uncollected every year because the IRS, in many instances, doesn't know what they're supposed to collect, and the taxpayers don't know what they're supposed to pay. A simplified tax code. I support 3 rates. I do believe it needs to be somewhat progressive. 3 rates, get rid of a lot of deductions. That will give you a certain amount of certainty. It'll also probably give you more revenue in a way that is less burdensome to businesses and individuals. I think that's one of the most critical things we can do to get the economy moving. We've got to get off of this thing of the estate, or a given tax code is expiring, we extend it again for a year, for 6 months. We have to have certainty and a much more simplified tax code.